وآل محمد.
اللهم
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المنتخبين المظلومين الغرر الميامين سيما بقية الله في الأراضين وحجته الخلائق أجمعين سيدنا وإمام زماننا وصاحب نعمتنا وولي أمرنا مهدي هذه الأمة وتوس أهل الجنة الحجة ابن الحسن العسكري فداه وارواح العالمين صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, continuing on with this series of lectures, we made a few points from yesterday's introductory lecture. And we spoke about a lot of different things that I tried to compile within the time that we had. However, in today's lecture, I'd like to look at the life of Amirul Mu'mineen, but from a different perspective. I'd like to look at this holy personality and how we can again, as I said yesterday, instill the morals, ethics, and values of this human being within our own lives. But to begin with, I'd like to start off by saying that there is a narration that has been narrated within our books of hadith that talk about a conversation that takes place between the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the way the conversation or the way the hadith narrates itself is it states that a group of angels one day are returning back to heaven. And the group that's already there, they say to them, "Where have you come from? We can smell a very beautiful fragrance coming from you." So they carry on by saying, what we did was we went down to the earth and there was a group of individuals that had gathered around in remembrance of Imam al-Hussein. They sat down in a congregation such as what we are doing today. So we went there to get the rewards of participating in such an act. So the first group of angels then reply back by saying, "Tell us where this place is so we can go there. Tell us where this is so we can involve ourselves within this reward." They said, no, they've actually dispersed from that area. The hadith goes on to say that the angels say it doesn't matter whether they've dispersed or not. Just tell us the location where it is so we can at least go there and sit down in the place where these human beings sat when this remembrance was given. When we talk about Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, when we speak about this holy personality, don't confine it to ourselves. This is something that is going on within the heavens. This is something that is going on, or it's safe to say going on in the multiple universes that we have. The message of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein is universal. It's a message that should be given to every human being, whether they believe in him or not, whether they accept him or not. Many examples we have derived from the day of Ashura, where you would notice that Aba Abdullah al-Hussein showed mercy, showed compassion, showed justice to such an extent that if you were to just sit with a non-Muslim and just tell them the story of this man, they would automatically fall in love with him. They would automatically be drawn towards him. We've been given, as I said on the first night, role models that nobody in history can come close to. We can then take these examples from their lives, implement them within our own lives. For a very famous narration from the 6th Imam in which he states, "You are a Muslim, but show people you are a Muslim through your actions, not just through your words." When people look at you, the way you present yourself, the way you talk, the way you sit, the way you eat, these should be a reflection, because we are representing the greatest human beings to walk this earth without a doubt. When we have names such as the Prophet, Amirul Mu'mineen, the Holy Lady of Light, the Masters of the Youth of Paradise, is there anybody that can even come close to these individuals? Is there anybody that can even link towards these individuals? So today I'd like to focus on Amir al-Mu'mineen. I'd like to mention a few stories. I'd like to mention what he did in his lifetime and how we can then link that into our own lives today, especially living within the 21st century. But we'll begin from a narration from the Prophet. Now in this narration, the Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa when people come up to you, when they interact with you in your daily lives, your actions should portray your religion. A beautiful example from this man is before he actually publicly declared his message, before he publicly told the world who he was known as Sadiq and Amin. He was known as these traits. He made people believe in him. In fact, the enemies would say about the Holy Prophet, we are going to war with this man. However, if you give him something, entrust your valuable goods to him, there is no doubt that you would get back exactly what you have given. A famous story is an old woman is now going on a journey from one place to another. The Prophet has started to show the morals and ethics of this beautiful religion. A young boy is now going towards this old woman. He says, would you like me to help you on your journey? Would you like me to assist you with the baggage that you are holding? And a lot of us might have heard this story. But she says, of course you can, but I'll tell you one thing. Don't talk to me about a man called Muhammad. Do not mention him to me. He says, okay. I'll carry on with this journey with her. Now as this journey was going on, you'll notice that she was bad-mouthing the Prophet. But a valid point that I'd like to make right here, she didn't know who he was. She'd only heard about him from what the people had told them. She didn't actually interact with this man called Muhammad. She never actually knew what he was about. In her mind, it was only what other people have said. In her mind, it was only what the disbelievers had put into her ears. So she just says, do not talk to me about this man. That's my only condition. Other than that, you can help me along the journey. As this journey is progressing, she's talking more and more foul words, as we say, on the Prophet. Yet when they reach their destination, she turns towards this young boy and she says, well, thank you very much for what you have done. The only thing I didn't hear from you is, what is your name? He looks towards us and says, I am Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Shocked, taken aback. All of a sudden she would say, you are that man that does magic? The man that's come here to corrupt us? The man that's come here to spread evil? He says, yes, that is what they say about me. She began to cry at that moment, and she accepted this religion because the Prophet showed her this religion through his actions. Now in this situation, in this story, it could have gone either way. Put ourselves in this situation. If somebody is bad-mouthing us or saying something about our family members, how do we react? How do we portray ourselves? You said that about my cousin? See you tomorrow. It's normal. It's the way we react. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I'm trying to get at is we take examples from the lives of the Ahlul Bayt and then we implement them. And as I said yesterday, we don't expect you to just wake up tomorrow as the perfect human being. These things take time. Small steps would then lead to greater good. So he portrayed himself in such a way that that misconception was taken away. But when we speak about Amir al-Mu'mineen, sadly he has not been explained to his full extent. He has not been told to, let's just say, the position that is justice in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen, yes, we talk about his bravery within the battles. But if we take a step back and just take examples from his lives that we can implement within our own, he is the measuring scale. He is the mizan. In our lives, we are who? The Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is the justice scale. Whenever you do something, think about this man. An example that we have is our prayers. There's not a doubt that Amir al-Mu'mineen does not know where he is going in the next world. But when he would approach the prayer mat, how would he pray? How would he worship the Lord to the extent that he would tremble? There's a narration that we have from Abu Dhar al-Ghaffari, one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, that one day he notices that Abu Hassan is reading prayer. After a while he's crying. As he's crying, he's laying flat onto the ground. And then all of a sudden he feels like as if he has stopped breathing. As if his soul has departed from this world. So he comes to the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen to inform the Holy Lady of Light. She says, what's wrong? What state did you see him in that you are telling me that he has left this world? She says, I noticed that he was crying in sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that all of a sudden his body was no longer moving. He was in a still state. She says, oh, Abu Dhar, you see this today? I see this every day. This is how Amir al-Mu'mineen worships his Lord. This is how Ali ibn Abi Talib worships his Lord. He is the measuring scale. You link yourself towards this mizan, towards this justice. Even throughout his khilafat, when Amir al-Mu'mineen became the Khalifa, he didn't rule for long. 25 years of his life, he was silent. 25 years of his life, he was oppressed. And the 3.5 to 4 years that he actually became the Khalifa, in the physical seat, should we say, of being a Khalifa, he had to endure 3 civil wars, watch his companions being killed. Yet you will never ever find a situation where you can put a black stain on the personality of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's walking past a church with a few of his companions. One of them turns towards the other companion and he says, I wonder how much shirk is going on in that building. Amir al-Mu'mineen replies back by saying, I wonder how much Allah is being worshipped in that building. He does not try to make you link it one way or another. He is the same as he is in front of you, as he is if he wasn't in front of you in your absence. Talha and Zubair. You've all heard of these 2 people within the Battle of Jamal. When it comes to Talha and Zubair, in the beginning they were with Amir al-Mu'mineen. In their minds, they were following him. And when Amir al-Mu'mineen sits on the seat of power, on the physical seat, the first thing that comes into their minds, well, now our friend has become the Khalifa, we're going to have some benefits. I might become the governor of this place. I might become the ruler of this place. But they did not know Amir al-Mu'mineen. A very famous story that we have is he has a candle that is lit. He is sitting there doing the taxes for the Islamic State. Talha and Zubair enter. They sit next to Amir al-Mu'mineen. He's busy at the moment, so they wait. When he finishes, he turns that candle off. He then lights another one. Then he says, now approach me and talk to me. What did you want to talk to me about? He said, why did you turn the one candle off and then why did you start the other one? He said that first candle that I had lit was used from the money of the Muslim taxes. And I was doing the work for the Muslim Ummah. Right now you've come to talk to me personally. Therefore I have turned off that candle and the one that I have lit now is bought from my own money. You can go on for years, but you will never be able to do justice to the justice of Ali. This man, even talking about him, you get goosebumps. Talking about this man, the hair stands up on your arms. It's all good and well about his life. Implement it within your own lives. He is the perfect example that we can take in any situation that Amir al-Mu'mineen was put in. You can take that example from him. Let's talk about him when he became a Khalifa. He would cover his face in the middle of the night and he would then give food to the orphans. Just for a second, understand who he was. He was the king, he was the emperor. He was the president, Wazir-e-Azam, he was whatever you want to call it. In that time, Islam, 50 countries in the world today were under one ruler. That was this man. How would we live our lives if we were in that position? Look at the way he lives his life. That they say that once he went to eat in his daughter's house, she places in front of him milk, water and bread. He looks towards his daughter, says, Ya Zainab, this is too much, this is extravagant. Take one away. What do we eat? This is the king, the ruler, the emperor. I don't want to eat extravagantly. Take one thing away. When we follow Amirul Mu'mineen, we implement him within our own lives. When we follow Amirul Mu'mineen, you can take stories, you can listen to how great he was, and there's no doubt how great this man is. But we need to take something from his life. We need to take something that we can implement within our own lives. Even within battlefields, for example, a very famous story that we'll have is within the Battle of Siffin. You'll notice that Muawiyah with his army were in charge of the water wells of the battle. His companions would say to him, we need to fortify this area. We need to make sure that when Ali comes, he doesn't take this area from us. He might stop us from drinking water. Even though he didn't believe in Amirul Mu'mineen, he could not deny who he was. He says, he won't do that to us. Amirul Mu'mineen with Maliki Ashtar approaches the battlefront. He notices that the water is being blocked off. So straight away he attacks the water river banks. He takes possession of the water. The army of Muawiyah is taken back. Then all of a sudden, the companions are now talking amongst each other. Within the army of Muawiyah, they approach him and say, we told you this was going to happen. Now the opposition is in control of the water. We might die if we don't get any water. And he says, just ask him. You don't know him. These people approach Amirul Mu'mineen from the army and they say, we are thirsty. Is it possible for us to have some water? His own companions disagreed with him. But Amirul Mu'mineen then ordered his companions to step aside. He said, move to the side and allow them to drink. Having power and authority is one thing. The way you use that power, the way you use that authority is another. Amir al-Mu'mineen one day is fixing his shoe. His uncle Abbas would enter inside and say, there is a delegation here that is ready for you. Oh, Abul Hassan. He's fixing his shoe. He says, I'm busy at the moment. He leaves. He comes back again. He leaves. He comes back the third time. He says, Ya Ali, the entire kingdom of the world is here waiting to talk to you. He picks up his shoe and he says to him, oh, Uncle Abbas, what's the value of this shoe? He says, the entire world is here to talk to you. And you're talking about a shoe. Nonetheless, it's worth nothing. It's not worth anything. Amir al-Mu'mineen looks and he says, this kingdom that we have within this world is worth less to me than the value that you just placed upon this shoe. Unless you can do it with divine justice. When we talk about the justice of Amir al-Mu'mineen, when we talk about the greatness of this man, if you read some of the stories, the way he implemented justice. We'll start off with a few stories. We always say, Amir al-Mu'mineen, or history has placed him fourth. But he was always the first. There's no doubt about that. Throughout his life, he may not be sitting on the physical seat of power, but he was governing, he was ruling. Many examples that come to mind. One of the stories is that they say that there was a woman who claimed that this child was hers. Another woman is now claiming that this child is hers. DNA tests weren't as great back then, I'm sure, as you can appreciate. How do you know the truth in this situation? They came to the Caliph at the time. Lawla Ali, la halaka. Had it not been for Ali, I would have perished. Had it not been for Abul Hassan, I would not have been able to continue. All the Khalifas within Islam said this line at least once within their lifetimes. Had it not been for Ali. So he comes to the courtroom, they don't know whose child this is. So they say, call for us Abul Hassan. Amir al-Mu'mineen then enters into the masjid. They say to him, Ya Ali, this is the situation, we don't know what to do. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, that's not a problem, bring for me my sword. He said, what, Ya Ali? Yes, bring for me my sword. They bring the sword. He says, place the baby in front of me. I'll cut this baby in half. The mother that is claiming on one side can take half. The other one can take the other half. We're thinking about that. We're thinking the exact same way they were. What? What's he about to do? Amir al-Mu'mineen takes his sword. He raises it towards the sky. All of a sudden, one of the two women turn around and say, no, stop. Give the baby to the other woman. I was lying. It's not mine. Amir al-Mu'mineen looks at her and says, it's not hers, it's yours. You can take it. You can take it. Why? Amir al-Mu'mineen says a real mother would rather see her baby within the hands of someone else than seeing them die. Yet no one at that time could comprehend it. No one at that time could understand it the way Amir al-Mu'mineen did. Throughout his life, you can take many examples that we can implement within our own lives. When he's becoming the governor, when he is the ruler, his justice. In the battlefield, one of the famous stories I have within the Battle of Siffin, an enemy member is approaching Amir al-Mu'mineen. They're fighting between each other. Amir al-Mu'mineen overpowers him. He takes his sword from him. He replies back to Amir al-Mu'mineen by saying, I hear, O Ali, when we ask you for something, you never say no. Is this true? He says, if it's within my capabilities, of course. He says, then give me back my sword. Without any hesitation, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, take it. You're in a heated battle. You've taken away the only defense mechanism that your enemy has. You have that much certainty in your religion and within Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that stage that without any hesitation, you give him the sword back. Even he couldn't believe it. He himself put his sword down and said, what is this? The faith. The unshakable faith. We all know that there are veils between ourselves and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We all know that there are things blocking us to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now what does Amir al-Mu'mineen say? If all the veils between me and God were to be removed, my faith in Him wouldn't increase or decrease, for I am at the pinnacle of my faith. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen.
Muhammed. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
He wouldn't shake. He's at the pinnacle of his belief within the Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today's lecture is a bit more serious, but inshallah I've got a lot to say, so we're going to balance them out throughout the nights. But the general point that I'm trying to make today especially is a role model like Amir al-Mu'mineen, a role model like this man to walk this earth. Throughout his life, the things that you can take, the things that you can implement within your own lives. He's going on a journey one day with a Jewish individual. Now, we're living in a society where it's not just us. It's not just us living here. Other religions, people who don't believe in a religion, made up religions. There's a lot that we are living within in this society. A Jewish individual is walking. All of a sudden, Amir al-Mu'mineen is now accompanying him on his journey. He said to him, where are you going? Amir al-Mu'mineen says, I'm going to Kufa. Where are you going? He mentions a place that turns away from Kufa. They're going on their journey. The ethics of Islam, we're going to morale at the end of this point. They're going on their journey towards Kufa. The point of the split comes. Amir al-Mu'mineen doesn't turn right to go towards Kufa. He carries on accompanying this Jewish individual. As they're going after a while, when he reaches his destination, he turns towards Amir al-Mu'mineen and he says to him, oh man, I'm pretty sure you said to me that you were going to go to Kufa. He said, yes, I was. He says, but you followed me on this journey. He says, the ethics of my religion is the rights of a traveler, is until he gives you permission, you do not leave his side. Until he gives you that permission, you don't leave. We got caught up in our conversation. I didn't get to ask you if I could leave, therefore I accompanied you on this journey. At the moment, the Jewish individual was thinking, yo, what's wrong? What's this man doing? So he carries on with his journey. One of his friends, who knew Amir al-Mu'mineen, who knew he was the governor, who knew he was the person ruling the Islamic state, Comes to his friend and says, do you know who that man was that just walked away from you? He says, no. He says, that is Ali ibn Abi Talib. That is the ruler of the Islamic State. That is the man governing the place that we are living in. He runs back towards Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said to him, if this is what true Islam is, then I am a follower of your religion. This is how Amir al-Mu'mineen had introduced it. Now for us, it doesn't seem like something accompanying somebody on a journey. But remember, it's small steps that lead to bigger steps. It's small steps that lead to bigger goals and to bigger achievements. But there's many stories that we can talk about Amir al-Mu'mineen. Now coming back, we live in a society where we are responsible for the way our religion is portrayed. Everything that we are going through today, the Ahlul Bayt have given us examples of. The Ahlul Bayt have told us about. The Ahlul Bayt have given us some sort of way of tackling it. Problems within our communities, for example, problems within our families, for example, problems within our marriages, for example, problems as we are supposed to earn income, problems between balancing the religious life that we have as well as the life that we are living in today. Imam Zain al-Abidin has given you 52 whispered prayers. In each prayer, he has given you something about a certain situation. If you're struggling in any aspect of your life, this Imam has given you a cure. The only thing is, we haven't taken time out to actually read what he's written, or we haven't given him that time to understand what he has given us. Treasure is what they've given us. Gold is what the Ahlul Bayt have given us. But we have to take the time out. Saif Sajadiyah. And the time that we live in today, we've all got smartphones. Just write 52 whispered prayers within the App Store or within Google, so it doesn't matter whether you like iPhone or Samsung. There's a big controversy about that as well. I like Samsung nonetheless. Write it. Write Imam Sajjad. Write the treatise of rights. Write Saif Sajadiyah. Write the 52 whispered prayers. Amir al-Mu'mineen has given us a dua known as Munajat Amir al-Mu'mineen. In today's society, non-Muslims have appreciated it more than Muslims. They said, we have never seen a man speak in such a way to his Lord that we shake to our own very core. Munajat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. If you don't understand the Arabic of it, it's in English. It's on YouTube. It's a video that you can watch possibly tonight when you get a chance. Look at the way Amir al-Mu'mineen converses with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so eloquently that he shakes the very core of eloquence. This is our role model. This is who we have. This is Ali. But in tonight's Messiah, I'd like to talk about the Holy Lady of Light. I believe it's very important that whenever we begin Muharram, whenever we begin talking about the tragedies of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, we should always start off by remembering his mother. For she was a woman that was oppressed like no other. She was a woman who said that if days were to see what I went through, they would turn into the darkest of nights. Oh Zahra, what did you go through? She loses her father. Not long after losing her father, the Muslims automatically turn against her. They come and attack her house, Ya Zahra. They come towards your house. What do? They burn the door. It pains us to read this, but it's a fact within history that we have to narrate. They come and attack her house. She is standing between the door and the wall. There is a nail within the wall. The Muslims, what do? They burn the door, Ya Zahra. They burn this door. All of a sudden, they kick this door, crushing the Holy Lady of Light between the door and the wall. It pains us to say this, but it comes to a stage where she falls onto the ground and the door falls upon her. Ya Allah. This is the Holy Lady of Light. Why would she leave this world at the age of 18? Why would she leave this world at such a young age? Yet when you describe her, we mentioned that she left this world unable to walk. When we talk about her, we say that she used to walk with a cane. When she leaves this world, we talk about her saying that she couldn't turn to the side. She used to use the wall because she couldn't walk straight anymore. What damages did you face, Ya Zahra? What happened to your ribs, O Zahra? What pain did you have to endure after the passing away of your father? Amir al-Mu'mineen has noticed all this. Imam Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, the very incident that we have. In our religion we say, in our language in fact we say, Fakhr Maryam, Fakhr Isa. What happened? She's laying on her deathbed. She has her coffin on her. Everybody is approaching her. All of a sudden, Aba Abdullah al-Hussein is standing in the corner. He's not going towards his mother. Abul Hassan approaches and says, "Oh Hussein, are you not going to go towards your mother?" He says, "When Isa was there and when Maryam was there, she called for him. I won't go until my mother calls for me." We have within our books of history that she wakes up from that moment, extends her arms out, and she says, "Oh my Hussein, come towards me." Hussein runs towards his mother. They begin hugging, they begin crying, they begin lamenting. Yet for the first time within history, Jibreel descends down. Jibreel comes down to the earth. Jibreel then says to Imam Ali, "Ya Ali, please remove Hussein from his mother's chest, for we within the heavens are not able to bear this." We say, "Oh Jibreel, how did they bear this? That at this moment you are seeing a mother and a son, yet we go to Karbala, we go to the day of Ashura, we see Shimr sitting on the chest of Aba Abdullah, we see him with a dagger within his hands, we see him about to take the life of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. How did the angels bear this? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayya qalbin yanqalibun.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad buland tar salawat. ابھی میں بردر ذاکر علی زامن کاظمی صاحب سے ملتمس ہوں کہ وہ آئیں اور مسائل کے جملے ادا کریں. اس کے بعد ماتم
محمد و علی محمد.
آواز بلند صلوات. نعرہ تکبیر، نعرہ رسالت، نعرہ حیدری، حسینیت، یزیدیت، محمد والے پاک پاک کی ذات پہ بلند تر صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد و علی محمد.
اعوذ باللہ. الحمدللہ رب العالمین. الصلاۃ والسلام علی اشرف الانبیاء والمرسلین. صلوات. شفیع المذنبین و خاتم النبیین بالقاسم محمد. الصلاة والسلام على سيدات جلیلات المظلومات المحرومات. ننهك مراس أبيها سيدة النساء العالمين. بڑے ادب نال صلوات. التي قالت سبت ليا مصائب لو أنها سبت للأيام سرنا ليا بابا وہ دیر لگئی صدقی عرض بیا کریں نہ تھے زخمی جگر محمد دا بیا قتل خدیجہ تھے ہو دروازے ہیٹھ بطول جدا پوں دیر تڑپ دی وہ دروازے ہیٹھ بطول جدا پوں دیر تڑپ دی رہی ہے ڈٹھا چپ ہے در تے گل نکل بساختا کی ہے کیڑی گل او خدمت پاک محمد دے عمران کو مہنگی پہلا وین ہو گیا دوسرا وین کرا محمد دی وفات تو بعد چوکھی زخمی ہے محمد دی قبر تے آئی ہے قبر نوحان نہ لا کے آدھی ہے بابا قبر چو باہر آ کے ویک تیرے دوستا میرے نال کیڑا سلوک کیتا قبر محمد دی علی آواز آدھے میری دی زہرا مینوں تفصیل نال سنا میرے دوستا تیرے نال کیڑا سلوک کیتا ہے اس ویلے میری سین رو کے آدھی ہے بابا کیڑ ساواں تیرا کفن بھی میلا نہیں ہویا میں مک گیا رو رو کے او حق منگیا تیرے امتیاں تو میں سائلاں وانگ کھلو بی بی آدھی ہے کیتی سناد دی بے ادبی تے میرے کولو کسدن کھو کے ہو انج سمجھ حسین دی مقتل وچو میں والیاں فارغ تھی بہت سونی مجلس سے بہت سوڑا پرسا ہے میں زہرا دے دکھ پڑ لگا زہرا بابے دی وفات چند دنہ تو بعد چٹڑی مسلمانہ دے دربار چاہیے 3 یا 4 گھنٹے ایویں کتاب بچ ملتا ہے 3 یا 4 گھنٹے دربار کھلوتی رہی ہے زہرا ہس دے رہن مسلمان رون دی رہی ہے زہرا 3 یا 4 گھنٹے تو بعد جڑا حاکم تخت بیٹھا ہویا زہرا دے پاس دیکھ کے آدھا ہے زہرا کیوں آئی ہے آواز آدھا ہے بابے دا حق منگن آئیاں جڑا تخت نال جڑا دوجا بیٹھا ہویا میری سین دے پاس دیکھ کے آدھا ہے زہرا سنبھل کے گل کر ہن تو مدینے دی شہزادی نہیں ایک سوال اڑے اس دے گل کرن دی دیر آئی میری سین مٹی دے جڑ پئی ہے سجا ہاتھ ودا کے آدھی حسن میں نلال مینوں سہارا دے میں مک گئی حاکم آدھا زہرا کوئی تحریری ثبوت پیش کر کم دے ہوئے ہاتھ میری سین برکے جو کٹن تحریری ثبوت محمد دی تحریر لکھی ہوئی حاکم نو پیش کی دی ہے جڑے ویلے تحریر دے ہاتھ چاہیے اس حرامی تحریر دے پرزے کی تن جتنی دیر تحریر دے پرزے ہوا چرین زہرا دے وال کالے آئے جدہ پرزے زمین تے آ گئے زہرا دے سارے وال چٹے ہو گئے رو کے آدھی چاچا سلیمان گوارویں میں چٹے ڈی بڑھڑی ہو گئی والا یہ زہرا اپنے آکے اپنے مسلح تے بیٹھی ہے دیاں علی دیاں زینب تے کلثوم اگے ودیاں نے زہرا نو سجاون نہیں سنگیا ماں دے پاس لے کے آدیاں نے کون ضعیفہ عورت جڑی ساڑے ماں دے مسلح تے بیٹھی ہوئی ہے پچھو ویکھیا ہے زہرا دے چٹے وال نظر آئے نوازا دن ضعیفہ تو کونے ساڑے ماں دے مسلح تے نبو جو مسلح تے بانئی آ میرے مسلح تے بہ جا یا میری بہن دے مسلح تے بہ جا اس ویلے زہرا پچھے ویکھے دیاں دے گالے چ باں پا کے آدھی میں نو سجانو میں تواڈی ماں زہرا علی دیاں نے اماں زہرا چٹے ڈی کی میں ضعیف ہو گئی ہیں کیا ہویا جو بابے دا حق نہ ملیا اس ویلے زہرا دی آواز آئی حق نو نہیں روندی اما پھر کے نو روندے ہو اچھا وین کر کے میں سینا دی حق نو نہیں روندی شبیر کوہیندہ میں ویکھائیاں تے آج وچ دربار وچالے ہو جیڑا رنگ دربار دا ویکھیا ہے تیری چادر بچان محالے بی بی آدھی تو رولنے ساڑیاں گلیاں وچ تے سجاد تے باکر نالے ہو تیری وچ زندان دے قید ہو سی کلثوم رکیا چند دن اور گزرے زہرا ایک دن مسلح تے بیٹھی ہوئی آئی اچانک دروازے تے شور سنیا محمد دی آئی جان دی آئی نہ دی آوازاں تو واقف آئی آدھی اما فضا مسلمانہ نو آج پتہ لگائے جو میرا بابا دنیا تو ٹر گیا ہے جا پتہ کر شاید میں نو میرے بابے دا پرسا دینا آئے ہومن فضا دروازے تے آئیے توڑ کے اتھے آئیے جتھے زہرا مسلح تے بیٹھی ہوئی آئی ہے آواز دے کے آدھیے زہرا محمد دیئے جڑے پرسا دے ونان دے ہاتھاں وچ اگی نہیں لے کے آندے زہرا جلدی دے نال دروازے تے آئیے آواز دے حیا کرو اے محمد دا دروازہ اتھے محمد بھی رک کے آندہ آواز آدھا زہرا جلدی کر دروازہ کھول علی نو باہر بلا نہیں تا اسا اندر آندے زہرا آیا دیئے نہیں اتنا عرصہ ولایت اسمت نو بچیں دی رہیے آج اسمت ولایت دی حفاظت کرے سی ایک حرامی دے ہاتھے چ آگائی جس زہرا دے دروازے نو لائیے دوسرے حرامی پیر دی ٹھوکر ماریے دروازہ زہرا دے شکم تے آیا ہے اتے دروازہ آئے تھلے زہرا کم دی زمین تے ڈہ پئیے اچھا وین کر کے آدھی اما فضا مینو سہارا دے میرا محسن شہید ہو گیا آواز آدھا اما فضا میں ڈاڑی زخمی ہو گئی سڑ دے دروازے ہیٹھ جداں تے تطہیر دیا آیت آگئی او تھیاں پسلیاں چور بطول دیاں محسن کو وہیڑ صدا گئی آنکھیں چپ دے کفان چ حسان دا بابا تے میں کو زہرائے گل کھا گئی او تیرے پیو دے حکام دی پابندی میرا ہاشمی جوش مکا چھڑ پیا ترے جمادی اسانی دا دی ایک دن علی مسجد جو آپ سائن فضا اگا ودیے علی مبارک ہوئی آج زہرا سارے گھر دے کم کاج اپنے ہاتھ نال کیتے علی جلدی دے نال اندر حجرے جائیں جتھے زہرا بیٹھی ہوئی آئی ہے آواز آدھا زہرا آج میں نو فضا ڈسی آئے جو تساں سارے کم کاج اپنے ہاتھ نال کیتے آئے نا تواڑی طبیعت ٹھیک ہے آواز آدھا طبیعت ٹھیک نہیں ہوئی میں نو رات اچھ خواب نچ بابا ملے آئے بابا دی آواز آئیے زہرا مبارک ہوئی تیری جن دنیا دے ظلمہ تو چھٹ گئی ہے یا علی ہڑ میں بچ دی کوئی نہیں میریاں چند وسیعتاں یاد رکھی پہلی وسیعت میری سین کی تھی ہے آواز آدھے علی میرا سردار میری قبر ایک نہ بناویں میریاں 40 قبروں بناویں دوسری وصیت زہرا کی تھی آدھی علی میرا سردار میرا جنازہ ادرات ویلے چاوی تیسری وصیت او لوگ میرے جنازے تے نہ آویں جنہ میری ماں جنہ میرے بابے دا جنازہ نہیں پڑیا آخری وصیت پہ کریں دیاں میرے حسن حسین بڑے چھوٹے میں چاندی ہو ہاں ٹر دے ویلے مینوں نہ ویکھن جلدی کرو انہاں نوں نانے دے روزے تے ٹورو دوویں شہزادیاں نوں علی نانے دے روزے تے ٹورے آئے حسن تے حسین نانے دے روزے تے آئے نا مامے لہا کے زمین تے رکھیں حسن گواد کیا دے نانا وہ ساڑی ماں بیمارے محمد دی قبر جی چکوئے جواب نہیں آیا ہون حسین گواد آیا آواز آدھا تو امیر ہے تینو منگن دا وال نہیں آدھا میں کربلا دا غریب میں جانا میرا نانا جانے ہے حسین دے آواز یہ نانا مینو سجان میں کربلا دا غریب نانا باہر آ کے ویک ساڑی ماں ڈاڑی زخمی آئی ہے حسین دوے نے مکہ قبر محمد دے شک کو یہ اللہ دا نبی قبر چو باہر آیا ہے آواز آدھا والجلو ماں مر گئی نے والجلو یتیم ہو گئے دوویں شہزادے دوڑ دے اپنے گھر دے اندر داخل ہوئے حسن آدھے اماں فضا ساڑی ماں کتے آواز آدھے اپنے حجرے چرون دیئے آواز آدھے سانو نانے ڈسے آئے ساڑی ماں مار گئی ہے حسین قواد کیا دن اماں فضا جلدی ڈسا ساڑی ماں کتے فضا قدمات اطلاع کیا دیئے میں تا کنیزاں لیکن ٹر دی ویلے منع کر گئی حسین میری زخمی میت نہ آوے یہ وجہ ہے حسین ایک پاسے بہ کے مٹی دے رونا شروع کیتا ہے غسل ہوندہ رہا ہے غریب نہیں اٹھیا کفن ہوندہ رہا ہے غریب نہیں اٹھیا سارے زہرانو مل دے رہن حسین کوئی نہ ملیا کنیزہ ملیا حسین نہ اٹھیا دیاں ملیا حسین نہ اٹھیا جڑے ویلے حسن ملیا علی آدن حسین میرا بچہ تو ایمانو ملہ آواز آدھے بابا میں فخر عیسیٰ میری ماں فخر مریم ہے ٹر دیوارے میں منع کر گئے حسین میری میت نہ آوے بابا میں اتنی دیر مانو ملنا نہیں جتنی دیر ماں بھلاوے نا ایو گل پہ ہوندی یا کھل گئے کفن دے پند یکدم او انج لکھیا ہے علماء او تو ایک واری پیا یاد آئے تے کو سو وارے گل او پر خیال کرے جداں وچ کربل دے او میں لاش تیری تے آواں او تمہیں پاواں کھول کے آکھی بچڑا تے کو آمڑے گل یارا محرم دی رات آئیے میرے مولا حسین دی لاش تے تیرا ضرباں لاش اتنے حصیاں بھی تقسیم آئے ہیں میں نہیں سین دہرا دی آواز آئیے حسین ادار لہا ماں میں لڑائی آئی اللہ جانے میرے مولا دی لاش کتنے حصیاں تقسیم آئی لاش اکٹھی ہونے شروع ہو گئی ہے جڑے ویلے میرے مولا نو پتہ لگا ہے میری ماں آ گئی ہے رو کے آواز پہ آندی ہے تو مالک کو لے دریاواں دی او میں پانی مانگ داریاں او پانی کی تے نہر تے میرا معاش کی ماریا